Rerelease.com. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and our special guest today is trauma drummer Kris Gustofson. And welcome to the show, Kris. And I got to tell you that I'm just kind of discovering your band. I was prepping for the interview day, and I don't know where I've been, how I missed this band, but you guys got some great music. So for my own education, for people listening to this, how long has the band been in existence?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. The band actually started way back in 1981, 1982.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And where are you guys originally from? Where was the band formed?
It was Bay Area based.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you were part of that Bay Area thrash scene before there really was one.
Yeah, we were.
Oh, wow. And so, how many albums do you guys put out to date? About?
Right now, well, we have a new one that we're working on right now.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, this will be the fourth.
Oh, wow. Okay, now I was reading when the publicist sent me a little press release about the fact that you guys currently got a new singer. So I was curious, is the new album with the new singer, or was it recorded before he joined?
No, it's actually with the new singer, Brian Allen.
Okay, so what can you tell us about Brian? I know the previous singer died. Do you want to talk at all about that, and then talk about the process of deciding to carry on with a new singer?
Well, yeah, I mean, we were right in the middle. I would say in the middle. We were getting ready to, as a drummer, I was going to track the drums at a studio in Martinez, Juan Ortega's studio, and I got a call. Matter of fact, I got a call the day when I actually was getting ready to set up and start laying down the drum tracks. I got a call that Donnie was really, really sick.
Oh, wow.
And so we paused the recording.
Of course, yeah.
I'm not going to do that. So we paused it, and then literally within a couple weeks after that, he unfortunately passed away, which was very, very, very shocking.
Of course. So the illness kind of just came out of nowhere, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was very bizarre, but it happened so fast. And then after it happened, going through all that grief and everything.
Of course. I mean, that's real brotherhood right there. I mean, like you said, there's a bigger band, not even that, but like sometimes there's that pressure from record label management that, hey guys, got to carry on and this and that, and people don't just understand. I mean, it's literally like a family member's gone, and it must have been really tough. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was pretty much like the brother that I never had.
Wow.
To this day, it really bums me out to really even
think about it. Yeah.
Every time when I hear a recording with him singing on it, really just Yeah. I mean, I really appreciated him.
I'm sure. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear it in your voice just talking about. So kind of I mean, that must have been quite a process, to lose your brother, so to speak, and then kind of
right.
What's the point where you kind of think, okay, we got to think about the band. Do we carry on? Do we not carry on? What was that process like?
Well, I kind of found out that he did want us to carry on, and it kind of gave me a little bit of kind of a kick to try to continue on with it. But I was very on the edge.
Oh, I imagine. And since, like you said, that half of the album was kind of already written or whatever. So what's that like? Not only is he gone, but then you got these tunes you worked on him with. I mean, kind of like the ghost in the room, so to speak, huh?
Yeah. Everything just kind of, I got kind of encouraged by management and the producer, and we started checking some people out. And then the producer knew Brian from Vicious Rumors.
Oh, okay.
We, listened to some stuff that he did
with them,
and really liked his, the way he sings and everything, and all that. And we had him come out, and we got together and played. We went and played for like 3 days, just the band, and we really just clicked. And so that's kind of.
And so, how do you feel like he sings the older material, from the previous albums. I mean,
it was kind of funny because Donnie had a kind of more of a Bruce Dickinson kind of style.
Oh wow!
And so the new singer Brian was he's like, I'm not sure if I can hit like all the notes that he can hit because he sings pretty freaking high. And
yeah.
We weren't trying to find someone that was going to replicate him. We wanted to get somebody in the band, a new vocalist that was going to take it to a different level.
That was kind of my next question. I mean, it's kind of like even if you look at like Black Sabbath, it's kind of like they went from Ozzy Osbourne to Dio, and it's like two different totally type singers, but they both worked,
Yeah. Well, with Brian, we were able to, since going through all the COVID crap and all that, and having tours like completely
put on hold,
canceled, whatnot. I mean, it's been like a whirlwind of just like so much negative energy, unbelievable. Plus the passing of Donnie, that we actually came up with some pretty heavy music.
Well, I got to tell you, again, to kind of educate myself and kind of prep for today's interview, I went online today, I was listening to a couple of your tunes just to kind of get an idea what the band sounds like, and no doubt, Trauma is definitely a metal band. Okay, no doubt about it. I mean, I'd say that some of those notes, like you're saying, listening to some of the vocals there, just the heavy riffing throughout the songs. I mean, I dare say it's a little faster than Slayer. But it's right up there.
Right on. Well, I appreciate you saying that. I think having the new guy that Brian in the fold now, and we get the new album completed and out there. I think fans are gonna, I think they're gonna like it.
And do we have a target for a release, or does it kind of depend on what's currently going on with the COVID?
Well, right now the record labels, it looks like it's going to be sometime first quarter. I just don't know what month yet.
Yeah. So next year, but that's a cool thing in the sense that a lot of bands have kind of shut down, and a lot of bands, when COVID hit, had albums in the can and they'd wait like for a year to release, or some bands are even like, we're not going to put anything out until this is all over. I dig the fact that in spite of what the band's been going through the last few years, with your singer Donnie dying and everything, and COVID and everything, you guys are still working on your music. You got it in the can. You're in other words, you're going to be giving your fans some new music, and I think that's what me as a metal fan, that's what I love. Bands that kind of if you can't get out there and tour, you're giving your fans a little something,
Yeah. Well, we're trying to keep the torch lit, and come up. It's definitely been quite painstaking just because of all we've been through between last year and this year. We're looking very, very, very forward to 2022 with doing some tour dates. So,
and since I'm talking to you, Kris, I'd like to ask you. I always love to ask folks. I'm like, you're the drummer in the band. So, why did you choose the drums as your instrument of choice? It's kind of just, you're a guy that got to get your aggression out, or what's it about the drums for you?
Well, my father was a big band drummer.
Oh wow.
Jazz music. So. When I was a little kid, I was introduced to it as a little kid, and went to his gigs with him and stuff when I was in grade school.
Wow.
And kind of went that route, and I just really love, to this day I still love playing drums.
Wow, so Dad's kind of like really your big influence, or the one that really got you into the drums. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what did he think? I mean, obviously, you guys come from different generations, and so you're going to have different tastes in music. But what did he think of, first time he saw you play in concert, or you doing your thing? Quite different.
He didn't. I moved to LA for during the 80s, during the hair metal days and all that. So I kind of kept that kind of period kind of away from him to a certain degree.
Oh wow! Okay.
The reason being is it was just
quite different than big band music, huh? Yeah.
Well, it wasn't that, but the thing was it was just how should I say it? He didn't really want me to pursue a career because of the fact that the industry pretty much is not what it used to be, especially in this day and age.
I mean, you can kind of relate to this, I'm sure, but I always tell people, today where everybody wants everything right away. Like, I don't want to go out and buy the album. I want to download. Right, I'm not going to buy the whole album. I'm just going to pay 99 cents for a single. People don't know what they're missing going to a record store like we did back in the day, and that was quite the experience. I'd spend all days in there just looking at music. I mean, I remember seeing Number of a Beast in the record store for the first time, knowing nothing about Iron Maiden as a kid, and just being like, I have to get that album just because of the cover. It looks so cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's how we bought albums.
Yeah. And people are just kind of missing out today, I think. Yeah. And see, you've been a band around obviously that long, and so like, what did you think? Like once you started out in San Francisco, you're saying really before there ever was a thrash scene, but once all those bands kind of moved up to the Bay Area and started just kind of doing their thing, what did you think? All of a sudden, there's a scene.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is too. Back in those days, what people don't realize, there's a huge punk scene going on in San Francisco too. Punk rock. Yeah,
I seen a documentary about that where the punk bands and the metal bands just kind of they shared the scene, and they some of them like just they did gigs together and everything, and I was reading like Davey Vane, a singer from Vane, he was he produced the first Death Angel album. People would probably be surprised to learn that.
Well, I actually played in a couple punk rock bands before I switched to playing heavy metal.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, it was just playing super fast. It was the only thing that really changed was the way the guitar players and the bass player switched it up some to sound heavier.
Yeah. And what do you think about the bass players? I mean, you got guys like Nikki Sixx, Jason Newsted that kind of play more like a guitar player than a real bass player. I mean, kind of do a rock star thing. I mean, it's kind of different, but it's something.
Yeah. Well, right now, we have Greg Christian in the band from Testament.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. He's a freaking great player.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, and those guys I mentioned, they're great players too. And one of my all-time favorite bass players too. It's got to be Geezer Butler. I mean, for the fact that
of course.
Not just the way he plays bass, but when you learned that it was actually Geezer that wrote all those lyrics for those Sabbath songs on the classic albums with Ozzy, it's like, wow, man, look, that guy's just amazing. He can write songs, and look what he was writing about. And I've heard him talk about in interviews, well, yeah, I was the guy writing all the Sabbath songs, but then, when Ronnie joined, there was really no need for me.
Yeah. Well, the thing is you got to remember too, when the Sabbath started out in the freaking 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, they lived in a depressed area in England.
Yeah.
And, they were just from their livelihoods as kids. Those guys they had a lot to pull from.
Oh yeah. So as far as drummers and bands that came before you, who are some of the bands and drummers influenced you?
Oh man. God, there's so many of them. Of course, people like, has influence like Bonham and,
of course,
Tommy Aldridge.
Oh yeah, he's been around for years. I mean, he's one of the kind of classic drummers that he goes all the way back to Black Oak, Arkansas, Ozzy's and Whitesnake. But he's one of those powerhouse drummers.
Oh yeah. I've met him several different times, and he's super nice guy.
Yeah.
And like Vinny Appice is another one. Denny Carmassi, and then some of the newer guys that are out are phenomenal players as well.
Vinny's brother Carmine, he's a super powerhouse drummer too. He's been around so long. But I was talking to him, and actually, speaking of John Bonham, not only was he good friends with John Bonham, but Carmine actually was around a little longer on the scene than John Bonham even, and he's one of the guys that influenced him, if you can believe that.
Yeah. Well, if you listen to those really old Vanilla Fudge records, they had a huge drum sound.
Yeah, in fact, if you're at all a Vanilla Fudge fan, they just released a new version of the Supremes, if you can believe, Stop in the Name of Love. They really rocked it up quite a bit, and it's the last thing they did with Tim Bogart. You should really check it out. It's quite a cool tune.
Yeah, I gotta look that up.
Yeah, you can go on YouTube. That's on there. But So do you remember how old you were when you started playing the drums?
6, 7.
And so, wow. So you knew that far back that's what you wanted to do, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, when I was 6 or so, I was no, child prodigy or.
Oh, of course,
like
yeah.
That.
And that's my next question. So, would you consider yourself a self-taught player, or did you actually take lessons?
I'm pretty much a self-taught player. The only time when I ever took lessons was for reading charts.
Well, if you can even read charts, that's quite something. But I was getting ready to say, I mean, the fact that you've had a career, in the metal scene since 1980, and again, I realize you guys haven't had a huge breakout success, but the fact that you're still here, and I think you could qualify as semi-metal legends, and it's amazing that you've had that kind of career, but you're still here. You got your loyal fan base, and so you're doing something right. And the other thing I was getting ready to say is, you look at a guy like Eddie Van Halen. Look what that guy did on the guitar, and yet people would be amazed to find out he couldn't read a lick of music.
Right.
So a lot of times when you play an instrument, it's all about it's more about feel than kind of being technically precise,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, my roots lie my drumming roots pretty much lie in jazz music, where there's a lot of improvising and whatnot going on with that.
Yeah, it's amazing you say that, because I mean a lot of drummers, it doesn't really depend on what type of music they play. I find a lot of drummers are influenced by jazz. Even your rock guys. I mean, like Charlie Watts, who passed away, the Rolling Stones drummer, a couple weeks back. I did a special on his life, and we found out that he was really influenced by jazz players. And these drummers tell me, it's because swing. It's got a lot of swing to the music, like you were saying, and so it's kind of a different way of playing, But then if you can play jazz, you can play rock music, you can learn how to play different styles.
Oh yeah. Well, my dad, when I was a little kid, my dad always said, pretty much try to play everything so you can stay employed.
Yeah.
So I kind of did that as best as I could.
And so, in regards to the new album that we're going to get next year, the new singer Brian, you said he's on it and everything, but was most of the stuff already written, or did he get to take part in any of the writing?
Yeah, when he came along, pretty much all the songs were written. But when we went in to start tracking them, we switched. We did modify some things.
Yeah.
We did modify some of the lyrics. He came up with some lyrics, and so. And
this is going to sound like a maybe kind of strange question, but because since these a lot of these songs were already written, did he kind of in a way give it new life in the sense that it's his take on these songs, his personality goes into the song. Even the fact that that it's a new singer, I would think kind of gives the band a new life, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. No doubt, and because I mean my spirits from losing my buddy.
Yeah, of course.
Were totally in the dumpster.
Yeah.
And just having like a glimmer of hope with a guy that kind of got where we were coming from and where we wanted to go and where we wanted to take this was like a complete miracle, and it's a miracle that we didn't have to spend months and months and months trying to really find the right guy.
Yeah, and see again.
And I do believe that it's kind of a fresh start in a sense.
That's kind of the point I was trying to make. And I think too, because if you had like another singer come in that was a clone of Donnie or whatever, it sounded just like him. Fans may like that, but then again, there's a certain percentage of the fans would be like, oh, he's a clone. He's trying to sound like the old singer. He's got nothing new to add. Where I think too, for you, being that you lost your longtime friend, if you had another singer come in and sound just like him, you'd be like, this sounds like what came before, and that's good and everything, but it doesn't sound like it's anything fresh,
Right.
So I think it's a gradual progression, and I can't wait to hear it, because, like I said, I'm kind of discovering your band for the first time, just kind of prepping for the interview, and and so I'm able to listen to it with a little more fresh ears, not judging what came before, but it was it just sounded like, man, this is a great metal band, nothing but a metal band. There's no doubt. I mean, I'll tell you one of the songs I was listening to. Okay, it says inside the Devil's Heart. What I dug about that song, it starts off kind of like, you think it's almost not quite a ballad, but a little slower than other songs I was listening to, and then all of a sudden it kind of right away just kicks in, and again, no doubt it's a metal band.
Mm-hmm.
And another song I love was When I Die. I just love the riffing on that one.
It's funny. A lot of people really like that song.
Yeah.
We did a video for that. That's on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. And it's kind of interesting because, again, just the riffing, it gets my attention. And immediately I think it kind of is reminiscent. It kind of sounds a little like Slayer, but a much more faster speed, if you can even imagine. And I guess you guys really achieved that with that.
Well, wait, if you thought that was fast, the stuff we've just come up with is definitely a lot thrashier and faster than that stuff.
Yeah.
But, Slayer, they were, what can you say? I mean, those guys were, for what they did, I mean, they were phenomenal, and all the years they did it. That's one thing that you may or may not be aware of, but, Trauma literally, like, we broke up pretty much around 1985.
Okay, yeah.
I ended up moving down to LA. Everybody else was doing their own thing, and we did not resurrect this band until like 2012.
Wow.
So
let me ask you: once the band is resurrected, comes back in 2012, did you feel like the fan base really welcomed you back? A lot of old fans, or was it a combination of new fans and old fans?
It's an interesting question because over the years I did a multitude of other things.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, the only time when I really felt that is we actually had the opportunity in 2014. We went over and played the Headbangers Open Air Festival in Germany.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and the fans that we played for at that thing were really, really into it. I mean, the stage manager finally had to come up to me and go, "Okay, man, last tune." Wow.
Those European festivals, I hear the fans are just diehard. I mean, they love their metal fans. And had you guys before then ever played Europe or outside of the U.S.?
Believe it or not, I had played over there with a couple different bands before in the 90s and the early 2000s, but Trauma, that was the only gig that the band did over there. We had a lot of different tour possibilities to go over there, but for some reason or another, they just never worked out.
Yeah, and I was curious, have you guys ever thought about like putting out like a live DVD or a CD or anything like that?
With the lineup that we currently have,
maybe
we have some opportunities of going over there, like I said, in 2022.
Yeah.
And I think we're at a point where, we get out there and start doing it, and, maybe after a certain amount of gigs.
Yeah.
We probably could do something to that nature, but up until this point now, we did not have the lineup that we have now.
Yeah.
That I really ever felt.
Is there any old footage of like any kind of old video footage of a former singer Donnie that that's out there if people want to check it out?
Oh yeah, there's quite a few videos on YouTube.
Okay.
I have a couple things in the archives too that nobody's really ever seen. They've never been released.
And see.
And
at
some point we might put that out as well.
And I'd imagine even since the band got back together in 2012 with it's a lot more than what it was even in 2012, but social media being what it is, I mean, it's a whole new ball of wax for a band like you guys.
Yeah, like I said, I never got out of the business. I was always in the business.
Yeah.
Went through, I knew about what was happening and what you need to do to try to, break through and all that.
Yeah.
But, I gotta admit, it has not been easy in any way.
Of course, I mean, you got quite a legacy as far as you got the band's name, and that means something to the real diehards and people who've been there since
Right.
day one, and then you got kind of a new fans that maybe have discovered the band since 2012. But in that regard, like what was it that finally got the band back together? Was it like just get an offer to do a gig? Did you think maybe we can do? It's time for it now, or what?
No, actually, what it was, I was in the original guy that put the Scratch and Scream record out was Mike Varney from Shrapnel.
Oh, okay, wow.
That signed the band, and I'd been in touch with him over the years, and basically we started talking about maybe doing a re-release of that record in 2013.
Yeah. With
some bonus tracks, because Cliff Burton was in the band for a little while before he joined Metallica.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay. There's a connection, because I was trying to think. I thought, like I said, I was kind of listening to some of the tracks today. Okay, now I've heard. Cliff Burton was in this band. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's the connection. Okay, because I thought I heard of the band, but I wasn't aware.
Yeah. So anyways, so we ended up doing a re-release. And, we decided to try to have a live band in case some gigs came around and whatnot. We had a couple issues with the original players because, there so many years went by. A couple of the guys just weren't really up to par to pull it off.
Yeah.
And when we started having a little bit of a roundabout of, okay, we have this guy for a few months and no, that's not working. Let's try this guy. That kind of thing, until we finally got the guys we got now.
So let me ask you in regards to Cliff Burton. Now that I know that part of the story, once he went on to Metallica, I mean, did you guys start to get some more gigs? I guess as Metallica gets bigger and people start finding out that was his previous band. I mean, what was that like to see him? I guess going from your band to kind of play with the big boys in Metallica, and kind of his rise.
Well, keep in mind at that time that was like the really early '80s.
Oh yeah.
Really, and really at that time, no Metallica was trying to just break out too, and I actually saw them a couple times at the old Waldorf, and when he joined, when Cliff joined
Metallica.
Cliff would come to some of our gigs where if we were playing at the Stone or the Keystone Berkeley or something like that. Super, super nice guy. But, those guys pretty much went back east, and then they like pretty much went and lived in Europe for a long period of time and really just like honed their craft and really just broke through over there. And, there was, we just to cut to the chase, we never got any kind of like, bone thrown to us.
No, yeah.
In any way.
Well, the scene was very different. I was just, and I do know that, unlike what a lot of people think, Metallica was originally actually from Los Angeles, and of course, when the Bay Area scene got started, it was after Cliff joined Metallica that he was telling the guys, hey, if you want me to get into your band, we're going to move to the Bay Area, and that was kind of his condition, I understand, and
well, the funny thing is, it's like I told you, I lived in L.A. At those times, and if Metallica would have stayed in L.A., competing with the freaking hair bands of that, that were going on. Trip, I'm not so convinced it would have worked. The scene up in San Francisco was thrash metal. And it really, any hair bands that used to come up and play in the Bay, I mean, it would be kind of like, sometimes it would work great, sometimes it wouldn't work all that great.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so but you guys in San Francisco definitely had your own scene, and like I said, you were actually, your band Trauma, you actually predates the thrash scene that everybody knows, that kind of got started in the late 80s,
Right.
So did you ever get a chance to go see Cliff play with Metallica? I mean, you just said that, so but and I imagine it must have, because he died tragically young, like 24 years old, and that, right at the height of Metallica is getting ready to take off. They released Master of Puppets, and he's sadly killed on that tour, in the tour bus accident. Your heart must have just been breaking. I mean, what, do you even tell the story of how you first heard the news?
basically, there was two guys in the band, Mike Overton and Donnie Hillier, the vocalist that passed away, that were really, really super close to Cliff. And those guys were literally, devastated when they heard the news.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
And then it kind of trickled, back to, the band. We were all really bummed.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys actually went to, the poor guy's funeral and all that.
Wow.
And, it was a miserable, sad situation, to say the least.
Of course. And so before the band gets back in 2012, were you said you were doing a lot of other, were you playing in other bands? Were you doing other full-time work?
No. I played in a band called St. Elmo's Fire out of LA for a while.
Oh, okay.
And, we put 4 albums out. And we, went out and toured with Dawkins and Warrant and bands of that nature throughout the States. And
wow.
then right around the time of the 4th album coming out, we were in Texas, I remember, and I got a call from a friend of mine in Switzerland, and they were looking for a drummer. He was connected with the old band Crocus.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm aware of him. Yeah, Swedish band. Yeah.
So I flew over there and auditioned for this gig. They had a big place in a soccer stadium, where they have, it's like a bomb shelter, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I flew over there. I hung out for a week, and I played in that band for a while, and did a bunch of gigs, open air festivals and stuff like that. And then, then got involved with a bunch of other stuff. So, studio work down in LA. I was still coming and going. I was doing a lot of traveling back and forth.
And so, then, wow.
Yeah, and then I was in a band with Frank Hannon for a little while from Tesla.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we put an album out, and I think it was, Jesus Christ, 1997, I think. A band called Moondog.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, wow, okay, wow. So you've done everything. That's quite impressive. Wow. So I guess the next thing would be the new album that's on the way. So so that's pretty exciting. So I guess once the new album, you guys be gigging at all, doing any live shows you think before the new album comes out?
Our current management and booking agents, they're trying to get us some gigs, possibly on the East Coast, to play in the East Coast, and then what's set up, we have a tour scheduled for April, May,
oh, wow.
2022 for Europe.
Hopefully by then this COVID stuff won't be as serious as it is.
Praying.
Yeah. I mean. Again, I think, that's another thing with COVID and all the lockdowns and everything gone on the last year. God bless you guys for keeping, in the studio and working on your new music, because, it's really been hard for bands out there.
It definitely hasn't been easy. I know of a lot of bands that refuse to even book anything until this kind of goes away, because people are just sick of, it takes a lot of time to book a tour.
Yeah.
Period. There's a lot of money that gets thrown down the drain and all that, and there's a lot of people they're just sick of rescheduling and canceling and everything else. I just hope that doesn't happen again, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and so does the band have an official site, or are you on Facebook or anything yourself, Kris?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page. It's I believe it's Trauma Metal, and then we have a website. traumametal.com.
Yeah, because you got to be real specific, as you know, because you can imagine, even in kind of looking stuff up on the band today, prepping for this, I first, of course, put trauma, and you can imagine all kinds of stuff comes up, but then you put metal band.
The problem is it's affiliated with the medical industry.
Yeah.
We get kind of lost.
yeah, but like I said, you guys are still here doing it, and we talked a little bit about Metallica, because there's actually that connection, and I was kind of curious. What did you think? Because we're talking about Metallica 30 years after the fact, they released that, of course, highly successful Black album, celebrating its 30th anniversary. you got a huge percentage of the people that either love it or hate it. I'm one that happens to kind of love it, but a lot of people. I was kind of curious how you feel about it in the sense that being a metal guy yourself, like it's a very different album for Metallica. Let's be honest at the time, but I think it was a progression, if you know what I mean, and I still love it 30 years later.
Well, to put it this way, as a drummer, the first time I heard it, it literally floored me. It just because of the way the thing sounds.
Yeah.
You know, and then you dig in and start listening to the songs, and you're like, Jesus freaking Christ. You know.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was those guys recorded that album at a place called One on One Studio on Lancashire Boulevard in North Hollywood.
Yeah.
I actually recorded in that room with a band, and I actually used a small setup of a Gretsch set that Lars used to record that album with.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I used a stripped-down version of that set, but unfortunately that room no longer exists. It got sold to some media company or something, which was, they sold it for a lot of money, of course.
Oh, of course, and you know we're talking about the current social media age and stuff, and of course when the band starts out in 1980, there's none of that, and it's a very different world. Even the music industry was very different. So, I don't know if you guys thought to take pictures and stuff, but do you have a lot of old photographs or anything like that from back in the day, or even is there a trauma vault of unreleased songs or anything like that?
There's some.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
There are some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that's gotta be kind of a lost treasure when you come across old photos from 1980 or stuff, because again bands weren't doing that.
I just ran across a flyer a few days ago that I sent to our manager that I hadn't seen in years. Trauma, we played a gig with, it was Saxon, Motley Crue, and Trauma.
Oh, wow. Wow, what was that like? That must have been around the time, I guess 1981 or 82, and they had Too Fast to Love.
It was early. To be honest with you, man, I don't even freaking remember it at this point in time.
But it was long enough. Yeah.
But all the shows and everything back then were, it was such a different thing than now.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was just such a scene for it.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I turn on Facebook and stuff. You're always seeing these bands post flyers from back in the day. It's amazing anybody still has those.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, and even the LA scene here in LA is much different than it was back in the day. I mean, everybody's moving to Vegas or Nashville.
Yeah. I mean, when I was down there, it was crazy.
Yeah. So are you still in the Bay Area these days?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So, well, I've really enjoyed getting to know you today, Kris, and let's keep in touch, and I'll let you know when the interview goes up, probably about 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And
great, man.
I'd like to, once the album drops, and I've had a chance to hear it, do a follow-up interview, and we could talk really about, the whole new album and the songs on there specifically, and do what we can, okay, to help spread the word. But that's what we're here about, making connections. So I really mean that. Let's stay in touch. Okay?
Yeah, man. Sounds great, Nate. Thank you for your time. I do appreciate it.
Oh, anytime. And thank you for being so understanding about having to reschedule the interview. I appreciate that.
Oh, not a problem at all.
Okay, take care, my friend. Bye-bye.